Is Saturday, June 14th. We are here for our daily mortgage interest rate update and what the heck is going on with the housing market on the East Coast. If you are new here, my name is Chelsea Winstead. I am a home financing strategist and mortgage lender. As you guys probably know, rates don't actually change on the weekend. As you guys probably know, rates don't actually change on the weekend. But I wanted to talk through a big thing that so many of you have questions on, are curious about, want more insight on. That specifically is two things, okay? This is what are housing prices doing? Are they changing? Are they dropping? Are they increasing? And then the other thing I want to chat through is how to come to the table and spend the least amount of money to purchase a home. I think that a lot of our major problems that exist right now when it comes to purchasing a home is that home ownership now, to get into it, is a lot more expensive than it used to be 5 years ago. And it's not just the rate component, it is also home prices and home values have drastically increased since 2020. Just to get into some specifics here, and this is just for me to level set. I think a lot of the time, real estate agents, lenders, we get a lot of flack, and the thought is, oh, well, you guys would just convince anyone to buy a house anytime because it benefits you. I say this all the time. I'm not here to convince anyone to buy a home. If you are a renter for life, I love that for you. The reality, though, is that tons of people still purchase homes, even with everything going on. With that being said, I like to be realistic and just really walk through the reality of what's happening and the way that you can save the most money and the way that you can buy with feeling the most confident given what's happened. So this is just, if you don't know this, so between 2019 and 2023, okay, home values experienced literally a significant surge in price, roughly 50 to 55% of an increase over that period. So something that would have been $300,000 in early 2019, a lot of places that is probably more around $465,000 by late 2023. The reason that this happened was twofold. Number one, pandemic-related demand, which was specifically due to interest rates being dropped significantly. Okay, so a lot of people were now in the market to buy a home because rates were so low. And then the other reason that this happened was a lot of these places that you have seen these massive surges in home prices had limited inventory. So just some basic economics for you. When demand is high and supply is low, what happens is shit gets real expensive. And that is what was happening. We did not see the new construction during those years that we are seeing now. We did not see tons of new homes being built during that time frame. So what you had is literally like a double whammy in the housing market during those 4 years, which was rates were super low, lots of people wanted to buy, and we had a lack of inventory. What that resulted in was home values exponentially rising over a very short period of time. Just to give you some context, it's pretty normal for home prices to raise between 3 and 5% year over year, but not 50% in 4 years. So basically, again, national average, depending on where you look, the home value can go up by about 4% in a year. And between 2020 and 2022, values were jumping by 20% every year, which is just absolutely nuts. Way above the historical norm and not sustainable. This is the aftermath of that all happening. Now, then obviously the big question comes okay, well, was that a bubble? Does that mean that a crash is going to happen? I've done a few videos on this, but just to essentially reiterate here. So yes, things have slowed down. We do not have as many buyers on the market today as we did back between 2020 and 2022. With that being said, though, what we're seeing is considered localized correction. So I specifically mentioned Florida a lot with this. What a correction is where you see home prices decline but not plummet. So this typically happens in a localized or regional pocket. So what we are starting to see is some local localized corrections. Okay, so in pockets, you're seeing some home values decrease. And then in addition to that, the consensus, just like overall, is that there is no widespread crash like projected on the horizon. And I think there's a lot of fear mongering and just kind of crazy shit on this app. A lot of this mess is clickbait. It is trying to get you to pay attention. It is trying to get you to watch some webinar or download some investment course or whatever the case is. But the truth of the matter is that it's not like we are not headed towards a crash. We are seeing corrections in different pockets in the country, not seeing a crash. Here's just a couple nuggets. So some regions like Austin, Boise, and New Orleans have actually seen double-digit pullbacks, which means like home prices have gone down. It says up to 23% in some of these areas since their peak pricing. But only about 2.8% of homes in those areas are actually considered underwater, which means somebody would owe more than actually the home is currently worth. So like in whole, the national market, we are seeing cooling happen to now meet the buyer's market, like meet buyers that are on the market. So what we see is sliding prices like that are going down like ever so slightly, or flat pricing, meaning home values aren't necessarily decreasing, but they're also not increasing. We are seeing localized dips or corrections, which I have mentioned before. So if you are looking to buy on the East Coast and you want to run some scenarios, link on my profile, let's chat. I'm happy to look at a specific city with you and tell you like what is going on within that market. It is quite hard, even like state by state, different pockets of the state see different pricing behaviors because every county and city kind of operates at like a micro level. Even a state is like macro compared to a specific city. So again, if you're buying on the East Coast and you want to run numbers and you want me to give you my opinion on what you could put in for offer price and or how we could leverage seller concessions, let's chat. Something to note too though, crash, again, very unlikely. Lending, y'all. So a big reason too, I can do a whole video on this. A big reason that the market crashed in 2008 is specifically because there was predatory lending. There was non-compliance required lending. There were just a lot of banking and financial institutions not doing due diligence, and they were giving people loans that sometimes were just straight up predatory, and or sometimes they did not do the due diligence to confirm that that person could actually pay back the loan. So you add all that stuff together, again, huge old thing, and you have a huge crash because now all of a sudden all these people, they can't pay their home. Like, it's just kind of a nightmare. The reality is that today, lending regulations are so freaking, y'all, the amount of crap that we have to disclose when you're buying a home is wild. So, like, we have tighter lending requirements. The other thing, too, is that supply and demand right now is actually still way more balanced than it was in 2008. So this is what I want to specifically say to two kind of groups of people. Number one, buyers. If you are buying right now, okay, because, again, y'all, life happens. And if you have to buy a house right now, you have to buy a house. So with that being said, so inventory is up, which for you is good. Okay. Means you got way more choice. You have the ability to look through options. Back between 2020 and 2022, that was not a thing. Number two, and I say this all the time, when we are in a buyer's market, which we are right now, buyers have so much more leverage. You can add, like, y'all, past 4 people that I have helped go under contract over the past week, guess what? The seller is paying for all of the closing costs. I can guarantee y'all, if we see rates drop, that is not going to be a thing. So that is a unique opportunity that you have as a buyer right now, is to negotiate more and ask for more from the seller. If you are selling your home right now, y'all, this is what I will say. Be smart, okay? Look at the average time on the market that homes are sitting. I would highly recommend that you chat with your realtor. I'm also happy to chat with you if you are selling on the East Coast and you want me to be a preferred lender on your home. And let's create a strategy where you price yourself to the point that maybe you go ahead and offer to pay closing costs. Because I'm telling you, y'all, we are in a different world right now. And specifically, if you live in a place where you are seeing homes sit on the market between 30 and 60 days, people in that market need some type of incentive or motivation to pick your house over others. I can guarantee you, if from the start you actually offer to pay for closing costs, you're going to get somebody's attention. And that is going to help somebody purchase your home that would not be able to purchase another, even at the same price. Price your home correctly, work with your agent, and offer to pay this up front. All right, y'all. Have questions? Leave them in the comments, and I am always here to help in any way that I can.